Couldn't do anything also because हथियार भी साइड में रखा हुआ था. Probably at first 5 seconds and volley of fire coming. The driver was Chandan. I think hats off to that guy. He got one bullet here. Vehicle का glass टूट गया and उसका splinter उसके left आंख में चला गया. But Chandan didn't tell me this. The first thing I did was, and when this happened, the co-driver had a weapon. He fired back. He fired, so there was a little silence.
Again, a very good operation, but at the end.
Sir, but just in case if you were to not clear the probation, then you have to come back to the unit. The average potential officer of infantry क्या करेगा? What happens in UN?
I had actually no idea what exactly this is.
But at the end, get success. But the issue is when we lose people.
मिनिमम एक्सेप्टेबल लेवल प्लस ट्रेनेबिलिटी ये चेक कर लिया एसएसबी में. अभी ट्रेनिंग खत्म करके एवरेज पोटेंशियल ऑफिसर लेवल पे पहुंचेगा. अभी एक जनरल इन्फेंट्री ऑफिसर को क्या करना चाहिए?
Postings was I was in Port Court, that is in the east. So there was ADC to the Port Commander there.
Given some topics to speak on. You're given some book to analyze, or some operation to study and then present it to other officers. I'll give you 2 minutes, go out, come back and give me 3 options. So I was not part of the battalion. I was part of military observer team. We had 40% of the unit, which is above 40 years of the age.
Can you throw more light? Tell the audience what exactly is Army Airborne training.
Yeah, it's a fantastic establishment. It is India's only airborne training school. Probably a lot of misconceptions and misinformations in this field.
How do you think, sir, your journey was there in the army? How was your life? So, thank you so much, sir, for coming to the show. Roger that with NKC.
Thanks, Nikhil. Thanks for having me here.
No, sir, it's an honor to have you here. So before we move ahead, let me tell the audience who's the guest on the show because this is pretty exciting. I'm sure बहुत लोग रोंगटे खड़े होते हैं जब मैं ये बोलता हूँ तो. So guys, today we have with us Col Krishnadas TR, 10th Parachute Regiment Special Forces. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you, Nikhil, and it's a pleasure to be here.
So, Roger that with NKC, Officer Like Qualities की कहानी, ex-GTO की जुबानी, powered by Olive Planet. So, like I said, sir, that this show is all about, this is a show where we talk about the process, that if an officer had to achieve some kind of an organizational goal, what is the process that he or she has to follow before the organizational goal is achieved or the objective is achieved. So this is that show where we talk about situation, task, action and result. Finally, result achieve karna hai to this is the process. Iske alawa, this is exactly what you had to do so that the goal or the result was achieved. So before we get into the specifics, sir, I would like to request you to introduce about yourself to the audience, sir.
Sure, Nikhil. Thanks. Yeah, first of all, it's a pleasure to be here, and thank you, Nikhil. It's actually an honor, and I never expected that. Probably I'd be invited to a show like this. So, yeah, to start with the introduction. So, I got commissioned in the army in the year September '99. So, I'm from Officers Training Academy, Chennai. I passed out in SS 68. That is my course number. And on commissioning, I was commissioned to the Gorkhas. I was commissioned to 4th Battalion, the 4th Gorkha Rifles. I served in Gorkha Rifles for about 2 years. And in fact, that is the time when I was in Manipur. In fact, it's been in the news lately, Manipur. It's again, that was the time when things were quite hot there. So from Manipur in 2001, then I volunteered to be part of the Special Forces, and I opted for 10 Para SF, and luckily I got what I opted.
And I can see you're wearing the same T-shirt as well.
Yeah, in fact, I thought, since I'm going to be there speaking about probably my unit, I think it will be apt that I wear the T-shirt.
Yeah.
So this is basically a T-shirt what we made on our Golden Jubilee. So each one of us got one T-shirt. So so I thought it would be a good occasion to wear.
So what is the significance of the dagger and the scorpion?
See, now if you look at the SF insignia, like the Balidan badge that we call it. So the Balidan badge, it's a winged dagger. So wings kind of denote the ability to fly, that is insert from the air. And dagger is there for the kill. That is the lethality is shown by the dagger. So now coming to what the scorpion is, because the dagger is consistent. In fact, the dagger that you see it's called the commando dagger. So now 10 para specializes in desert warfare. So the unit is known as the desert scorpions. Like a scorpion in the desert is one of the most lethal animals.
Lethal, yeah.
So it goes with the unit's motto that swift, silent, and deadly. So you'll never hear a scorpion come in this thing. It's swift, it's silent, but it's deadly.
Very, very stealth.
It's stealth.
Element of surprise.
Exactly. So that element of surprise is kind of captured in the insignia.
So before we delve into the para stories, sir, can you walk me through, sir? Where did you go for the SSB?
I went to Bhopal. I went to 22 SSB in Bhopal.
And this was like one shot and you got through?
I think luckily, yes. Luckily, yes. In fact, that was my first SSB. And to be frank, I, those days, probably the exposure was not there. But then, luckily, what happened was one of my college seniors, so he had got through SSB just about 3 months back, 3 months earlier to that point, when I was to go for the SSB. So I had a conversation with him. Like he also he was since again the same college and this thing. So he said, yeah, this is how it was. He just told me, it's a 5-day process and this is how it was. And then, like in college, I was in NCC. So in fact, I was in NCC Air Wing. In fact, my initial thing was to be a fighter pilot. So even there in the SSB also, the instructors tell you a bit about it. What is the SSB or what you're supposed to do there. But then, like these days, what you have, the plethora of information was not there.
Correct.
So it was the only probably takeaway that I took was that they look for positive attitude in a cadet there.
Some kind of originality.
So that is what he said. Positive attitude is something they look at. So the entire thing is structured towards that.
Yeah.
So that is one thing probably I took a cue here. But then I think as we went in there, and once you're there, then you actually don't have time to think because the process takes care of.
Yeah.
So I think probably I was since kind of was myself itself. So it was original, though I think I made it.
Okay. So when you got commissioned in 4 Gorkhas, you said?
Yeah, 4th Battalion, 4th Gorkha Rifles.
4x4G.
Yeah.
Okay. So you spent about 4 years there?
No, I spent about 2 years.
2 years.
Yeah.
2 years. So that time the unit was in Northeast.
Yeah.
So were you exposed to any kind of Northeast ops there?
Yes. I was telling you that was the time when like predominantly you see Northeast. There are 2-3 the terrorist groups or the militant groups. So NSC and IM was the biggest. Then the NSC and Kaplan, the NSC and K, which is there, that was there. And then in Manipur there are the valley-based insurgents, which are basically the PLA, UNLF, and all these things. So now the issue at that time in Manipur was NSC and K had broken away from SNSC and IM. So there was a rivalry between these two groups as well. And NSC and K was leading a conglomerate called Operation Brotherhood, in which they took along the valley-based militants and one of the other hill-based Kuki militant group called KNF. So they were kind of doing this Op Brotherhood. So this was very much active in Manipur that time. And Nagaland at that point in time was a little peaceful because NSC and IM had a stronghold there, and the government of India already had a ceasefire agreement with NSC and IM, which was valid in the state of Nagaland. So yes, we during my tenure there, we had kind of multiple operations. In fact, while we were inducting into our operation area itself, we had because that time, like all the units which are are inducted in Northeast. Like in the army, you come from a peace station,
Correct.
and then you go into a field area. So there is a orientation that is required for people to so give them an education, what type of things to expect, what the various do's and don'ts. Because everywhere the terrain is different. So similarly, there is a school called the Counter-Insurgency and General Warfare School. Varante.
Yeah.
So Varante, all the units which get into Northeast, they do a pre-induction course in Varante.
Familiarization and some kind
so
of...
they do, it's a whole series of training, including your physical fitness, firing and everything. So that troops are oriented towards what to expect. So after our Varante tenure, what happened was we were there in Varante for a month plus, and so thereafter the unit inducts into its operational area. So which was in Manipur. Varante is in Mizoram. It's closer to Aizawl, about 90 kilometers short of Aizawl. So at that point in time, the corps commander, in fact, again, is a very famous general called General Nanavati. So General Nanavati started this concept that any unit which is going into Manipur from Varante, they will walk. They will not use vehicles and they will walk till their operational area. So this entire walk was initially the entire thing, because we generally plan it on a map, the route is planned. And so it was all planned to be about a 16-day walk.
Why walking and why not vehicles, sir?
One is the idea was that people, when you walk, you get familiarized with the terrain.
Correct.
And second thing is, it's kind of mentally orientating that you're going into operational area. So because the moment you sit in the vehicle, except from the driver and the co-driver, after a few hours, people tend to doze off and all this. And then when you go in a vehicle, you have a greater danger of
because you're in pocket. So if any ambushes,
so anything happens, any ambush, any ID, then the what do you call it, the hits that you take or the casualties that you take are much more when you're in a vehicle.
Correct.
So that was the idea, that you will walk. So, and probably the third advantage is that when you walk, you are actually sanitizing an entire zone.
Yeah.
When you walk into for 16 days, what happens is at least your entire path is cleared. People, any militant activity in those areas can be addressed during this. So that's probably a larger aim from his perspective.
Yeah.
So this is so the idea was, since it's everybody is walking, so every about third or fourth day, like we used to have the resupply points. So we used to every third or fourth day you could rest for like one night in a proper camp kind of environment, wherein you get replenished. Like you again fill up your water, ration, everything, and then again you start for next 3-4 days. So while we were doing this, and in fact that was I was about 4.5 months of service. So I was the junior most in the battalion. So what happens is, in infantry battalion, there is a platoon called the Ghatak platoon. It's basically who are supposed to be the fittest and the slightly better trained than the others. So I was put in the Ghatak platoon, and because now when you're moving like this, you need to have some kind of a tactics around it. Because say a large column like a battalion, it's 1,000 people walking. So 1,000 people when you're walking in those terrains, it's kind of goat tracks and all these things. So the column length from the first guy to the last guy, it's almost 2.5-3 kilometers. Because you obviously leave a little gap also between. So you have, you walk in company columns, like there is Alpha company, so one company behind the other, and then there is a battalion headquarter. So now, when you're moving into this unknown area, so you need to have at least the leading elements.
Your best chap should lead.
Best chap to lead, because the entire the concept was like the leading column will decide when to walk, when to stop. Like if they find something say suspicious, so they'll put everybody on halt. That message is passed. So people halt tactically. So they kind of look on either side and take a vantage point. And then this platoon goes and clears those areas, and they said all okay, and then you move ahead. So that was a drill. And the second part was you encounter a lot of villages. Like in Northeast, typically you'll find most of the villages are on hilltops, or hillocks.
Yeah.
And Northeast, the terrain is slightly more difficult when you compare it to, say, what is there in our, say, Himachal or in Kashmir.
Mm.
And the type of forests are different here. These are thick bamboo forests, where the what do you call it? The humidity levels are very high.
Mm.
So while this was happening, so the idea was for the night harbor.
Mm-hmm.
When everybody kind of stops.
Mm-hmm.
So you take a night harbor 1 hour before last light,
Mm-hmm.
because you need to orient yourself in that light.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you orient, when the nightfall happens, your eyes are better trained
Correct.
to look into these things.
Mm.
So this was a drill followed. So this was probably our, I think, 12th or 13th day,
Mm-hmm.
and we were entering this village. In fact, this village is called Longpi in Manipur.
Mm.
So it's again on a hillock. So the drill was like everybody stops, and then you move your heavier packs.
Mm-hmm.
Then you move only with the weapons and your ammunition into the village, and you move tactically to. So we were doing this, and then we were fired upon when this happened.
Oh.
And then there was a encounter which ensued, and this thing. And this was, in fact, my first time,
Exposure to real ops.
real operations.
The first time you heard the sound of an incoming bullet.
Yeah, in fact, I still tell. In fact, that time also, I still tell my course-mates also, because see, when you are training, when you're firing, the sound that the bullet makes is different.
Mm-hmm.
You are hearing a bang sound.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But when a bullet say goes past you, so the sound that is made is different.
Yeah.
When the fire is effective, it's more of a whistling sound.
Correct, yeah.
So now when this fire suddenly started, and actually I could hear this whistling sound.
Yeah.
And I was 4 or 5 months service. I had actually no idea what exactly this is.
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking, what is this sound? Because in academy you're taught sounds of various weapons, like LMG sounds differently. But then this was a totally different sound, because there again it's on a butt wall. And when it's passing you, so I was in that kneeling position, had the weapon. But then again, this was coming from a very, very thick undergrowth. I could not actually see anybody who was firing there. But then, and I think there again, I would say the QRT, it's what is called Ghatak. So every Ghatak has a JCO and an NCO. So there's a Ghatak Havaldar. I still remember his name, Prem Bahadur Thapar. So Prem actually, in fact, I actually got my real education what to do from Prem.
Okay.
So I was kneeling down on that ground and looking up, and then this fire was coming. But Prem was experienced. He had about 15, 16 years service that time. Havaldar. So Prem, in fact, he kept his hand on my back and told me, lie down.
Niche down.
And is in Gorkhali. Sautala Janu. And then I asked Prem, I tried to ask him, कि क्या है वो, क्या है? तो he said, साहब ये fire effective था. Because fire, that means the fire is effective. So that's how this sound is. And then thereafter, then you kind of probably that 30-second. Then I regained. I understood what it is, and then we actually moved ahead. We moved ahead. We cleared the entire village. And thereafter, the entire battalion came in this thing.
So this was all your first exposure to the operations and sounds of incoming bullets, and probably I think पहला जीवन दान.
पहला जीवन दान actually.
So then, sir, why?
And क्या कहते हैं? पहला सिखलाई also, actual सिखलाई.
Yeah. So, sir, how many years there with Gurkha, sir? 2 years. So why para?
See, actually, while in the academy also, you have instructors from. We also had one instructor. In fact, he was from Pin Para itself. That time he was Major Chandrawat.
Major Chandra.
So he was a very kind of influential figure for all of us. And then once you come to academy, people then you like all the cadets when you speak to each other, and there are people with military background who come, and that is where you can actually learn. In fact, when I joined the academy, I actually didn't have a bit of an idea how the entire army is organized. And since there are regiments and there are armed services, these things you don't like.
Your first officer in your clan to have served in the services. Okay.
So I have no idea absolutely. Whatever idea you have from the movies. In fact, I think Border movie is one movie I saw before coming to OTA. So, but then again, now the concepts start formulating there, and then you look up to the SF officers there, because one is, for the first part is, yes, their personality and the dress attracts you.
Yeah.
And then the stories.
Total Christmas tree.
Yes, and then that point of time, if you remember, that was the era when the first Gulf War had just finished.
Yeah.
A very famous book called Bravo 20.
Yeah.
So I happened to read that book while I was in academy, in that second term. So then again, you start hearing those stories and you wanted to go there and all. But then still you're not very kind of, I would say the ideas are not formed at that point in time, whether you want to do that as well. Plus my own platoon commander was from Gorkhas.
You belong to which place, sir?
I'm from Kerala.
Kerala. So your mother tongue is Malayalam. But you seem to be very fluent in Gorkhali.
See, Gorkhali is something which you have to learn. In fact, again, I think that's a beautiful way of kind of teaching a language and teaching the culture also in Gorkhas.
But that's bonding.
Also
social
bonding.
adaptability. Yeah.
You see, when I joined the unit, so that initial, what do you call that, welcome, wherein, the welcome is very basically your kind of little troubles and all those things. You may do something, run and all these things. That happens. And then the initial phase, you actually stay in the lines. You're staying with the men. You do all the duties, right from a rifleman to a section commandant, so that you understand how these people, what a Jawan's daily routine is.
Yeah, because
as an officer, you have to understand.
And because tomorrow when you give them orders, so you know.
And now in Gorkhas, the toughest part is that by order, nobody will speak to you in Hindi. While when I was allotted a buddy there, they went in. In fact, Rajan Thapa, I remember his name still. So now Rajan, while he was a Gorkha, but he knew very good Hindi. And when I'm asking him, कि कल का program क्या है, because now you're just out of academy, so your mentality is still कि मेरे को सुबह शाम तक करना क्या है, what is my schedule. So, and then in the army also that there's a thing wherein the orders come in, and then you say कि tomorrow PT is like laid out and then आपको ये करना है. So now Rajan is telling me, but he's telling me in Gorkhali. So I said, I'm replying in Hindi. कि यार मेरे को whatever you're saying, I can't make one bit of it. तू जो बताएगा, अब कुछ कल मुझे कुछ करना होगा, मैं कुछ और गलत करूंगा वहां जाके, then I will not have an answer. So but then finally Rajan said कि CHM ने बोला है कि आप साहब से गोरखाली में ही बात करना है. That was the only sentence he said. And but then I requested, I said कि then you give me something in writing. Basic words. Then next day he came with one full A4 sheet with basic colloquial terms that he used. So that was the initiation. And then I think within about 4 months I picked up. The first month you start understanding.
So where did you go for probation, sir? Para?
I went to like I said, I went to 10 para. So at that point in time, the probation was split into 2 parts. Like my initial probation was in the center, that is the para center, which is right here in PRTC Bangalore. And you do one part of the probation here, and then the half probation happens in the unit respective.
But then how do you choose the unit?
See, I like at least for the SF, in fact, you have a choice to actually choose the unit. But what you may get, you may not get. But in my case, I was lucky that I got it. In fact, in those days, like these days, the volunteering is also streamlined. In those days, for your volunteer form, it has to be countersigned by your CO. So when I was with Gorkhas, twice my CO tore away my forms. He said, "You're not going anywhere." But then I went for Vayos. So when I went for the young officers course in Mau, so there our course senior was from 5 para. Very fine gentleman called Guru Pawansi. So he was known as Gary sir. So then I told Gary sir, and then my own postmate from OTA, Krishnan, he went to 10 para. So that is why I was on the day where I am meeting Krishnan. So then he is now telling me a lot of stories, and then I said, yeah, so करना ही है. So then I told Gary sir, ये problem आ रहा है sir. मैंने 2 बार किया था और CO ने, in fact, CO actually bullshitted me. He said, तेरे को कमांडो बना, तेरा कमांडो में यही बनाता हूँ. And then he sent me on operation 4 days, 5 days. He said, यही पे कर दो operation, यही कमांडो है. And so twice, did that. Then I said, अब तो I'll actually end up fighting with him. So then this Vayos happened. So then Gary said, he was about a year senior to us.
So course seniors can counter Singh.
No, but Gary sir said ki since you, because even like the parachute regiment also looks for volunteers because they're always short of officers. So Gary sir said, "Yaar, ho jayega hi. What I'll do is, he gave me the address of the colonel regiment, and then he said, I'll get your form countersigned by my CO, that is 5 para CO. It only has to be countersigned by a colonel. So I gave my application to him. He told his CEO, and then he said, side by side, you write a DO letter that this is the case. I want to volunteer, however, I'm not able to do this. So that is why I wrote the colonel regiment. And that time
you wrote to the colonel of the regiment, parachute regiment.
Yeah,
that's a lieutenant general.
That time was Major General Suresh Chand.
Achha.
So I actually wrote a DO to him, sitting in Vayos as a lieutenant. I wrote a DO, said this is what I want to do. So kindly, help me do this. And then along with that, I gave a copy to CO 5 para, since he was requesting him to countersign my list. And I did that, and then
and your CEO knew this, that you were doing
no,
this?
he didn't know it. He didn't know it. And then I came back from Vayos. Vayos was 6 months. So this is, I think, probably on the 5th month I wrote this deal. I came back. Then I got a reply from General Hoshiar. Again, I went back to Manipur. I got a reply from General Hoshiar. I've recommended your case. You will get a call letter and you will get a posting order from MS branch. And like he said, about 2-3 weeks, I think those days it was, the letter also used to take time. 3 weeks, there was a what do you call that, official DAC that came to city from MS branch to my CO. Basically unit mein aata hai. His such and such officers has hereby been nominated for probation to 10 para. And then I get a call from the 2IC and like, what have you done? CO is wild. So I also know क्या हुआ है. मैंने कहा operation में कुछ हो गया है. तो sir, what is it? बोला actually you in army you do that, na? He said, the fucker you wrote to General Hoshiar. So I said, sir, there was no other way. Yes, and sheepishly I said yes, sir. So बोला there was no other way.
Sir, but just in case if you were to not clear the probation, then you have to come back to the unit.
That is exactly what, in fact, later on in life, that time my CEO was Colonel Rathore, KSS Rathore. And later on, we kind of had developed a very good relationship because of this. So actually, Colonel Rathore called me and he gave me a nice dressing down in his office. He said, actually, one of the reason was, from OTA when I passed out, so I was the sort of honor of my course. So he didn't probably want to lose out an officer. So I was generally good in physicals and all these things. So, and then this firefight happened when I was inducting all this thing. So I was doing pretty well in the unit.
Generally, infantry, average potential officer of infantry क्या करेगा? जब pass out हो गया ना, like we say this minimum acceptable level plus trainability, ये check कर लिया SSB में, अभी training खत्म करके average potential officer level पहुंचेगा. अभी एक general infantry officer को क्या करना चाहिए? I think you were all there, all ticks.
Yes. Yeah. So then he again called me, gave me a dressing down.
Mm-hmm.
And then the day was it was not much time,
Mm-hmm.
because in those days you had to go by convoys.
Mm-hmm.
Like connectivity was very poor. Like
Mm-hmm.
the nearest what do you call it, train station was in Guwahati.
Mm-hmm.
So to reach Guwahati, you have to first there are convoys which go. The
Mhm.
convoys don't go on every day,
Mm-hmm.
because for a convoy to go, the road has to be cleared.
Mm-hmm.
So say once
So basically, it took you a lot of time.
to reach actually the
Unit 10 para.
Dimapur and then Guwahati. Because I had to come to Bangalore.
Mm-hmm.
So in fact, when you're going out, then you kind of given that dining out and everything.
Mm-hmm.
So the dining out, this is the only thing what Ram Rawat told me. But now that you're going, ensure that you don't come back. So
Yeah.
so it was kind of a positive motivation, I would say.
Yeah.
So that is also one thing I had at the back of mind. Here, वापस नहीं जाना है तो इज्जत का सवाल है तो.
So how many months here in PRTC, Bangalore?
PRTC was close to 2 months, about
And then?
45-50 days.
And then?
And then in unit another 2 months, about 45-50 days.
So what is the unique thing that you remember about your probation?
Actually, a lot of things. In fact, one is the physical part, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Like one good thing probably what happened was, like unlike a unit probation, what happens, you usually are only probably the single officer.
Mm-hmm.
But in PRTC, since it was a place where a part of probation was to be done, so we had 10 officers who were later going to different units for probation. So that initial phase, since we were 10 officers, so that kind of gave us support to each other to take on the physical tasks and everything. It was equally tough here, and then do all those speed marches and this thing. So I think that initial phase kind of the presence of and within so many officers, then you befriend probably 2 or 3 who you stay with in the same room and this thing. So that when you talk to each other, that gives you the mental strength to carry on. So I think that helped one. Second is like Jodhpur from Bangalore. If you say Bangalore is 21 degrees and Jodhpur is 40 plus degrees. So that is the first thing that hits you when you go to unit. And unit probation is, I think, that is where you actually come under pressure, because everybody in the unit is watching you. Because you are while they all understand that officer, but then they give you that due. But then you are like any other probationer. Like when I was there, we were 11 of us. I was the only officer, and then all were Jawans would come from different units. And some from Grenadiers, Rajarif, and we had 2 guys from Assam Regiment also. So now there, the body system changes, because from having an officer as my roommate here, now you are staying with Jawans.
So ranks are out in probation, right?
No, ranks are out.
So everybody stays together. Commando or commando?
Yes. You eat together, stay together. You do everything together. You are actually eating in one of the cook houses. You allotted one of the teams where you eat, and then for eating you go there and this thing. So every time when you go and eat in the cook house. Otherwise, as a probationer, you are mostly in training areas. So you're still kind of okay. But the moment you are going there, there you see the already established guys. There are NCOs who are already done so many operations. There are divers, there are free fallers. So when you go and sit among them and eat, you're very conscious, and then you actually look up to these guys. ये पास होके बैठे हमको भी पास होना है. And then those guys also they kind of help you, but then you kind of get overwhelmed.
So 90 days and marooning happened after that.
Yeah, in fact, in my case, it took a little longer, because towards the last month of probation, the unit actually moved to J&K.
So when was the first ops after marooning? So you stayed in after marooning happened, and then dining in the same unit in 10 para?
Yeah, same. In fact, actually, in my case, probably there was the formal dining in actually didn't happen. In the sense, though it happened much later, because we were in field. So like we moved to Kashmir. So that time we used to have 3 teams. These days there are 4 teams. So I was attached to Alpha team. The Alpha team was in Kupwara. Kupwara is one of the hotbeds that time.
I studied in NIT Srinagar, JNK.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're with the team there, and I was still under probation. While because all the I passed all my physical tests and everything in Jodhpur itself. All your the mandatory navigation physicals and everything I had passed. So but then still.
So after 90 days and all these mandatory tests, marooning हो गया, maroon लगाया?
नहीं maroon नहीं हुआ मेरा.
नहीं हुआ, अभी भी नहीं हुआ.
अभी नहीं हुआ. So ध्यान से ना कि while I did all this tests and everything, like I think there is another thing what probably is a general concept that people have is it's only about physical fitness.
No, I think it is more related to
it's also mental fitness. It's also about compatibility, psychological, and also how best you fit into that team.
Spiritual inclination?
No, what exactly is spiritual, but what like in the unit when I went there, in fact, one of my seniors, senior team commander at that time. So that you still remember I said कि 3 चीजें हैं. It is right, दिल, दिमाग और घुटना. ये 3 चीज अगर है तो यह रोक सकता है, नहीं तो नहीं रोक सकता.
So Dil is social adaptability, not only with the peer group, but seniors and
Dil is one part of it. Dil is second is it's about your conviction, your strength of your powers. When you say ना कि बंदे में दिल है कि करने का दिल है, so that is one. Second is dimag is you have to be sharp because as an officer, what happens is apart from the daily routine, you're given certain additional tasks, like you're given some topics to speak on. You're given some book to analyze, or some operation to study and then present it to other officers. So as an officer, you are actually tested more in the probation. You're tested from all ends, and there is a dedicated probation officer who kinds of marks your progress. So on all these accounts, it's not only physical this thing. And then there is a very good system of what do you call that 360 feedback. In
360 radian. We call
in
it
probation.
Yeah.
Even you finish all these things also. There is a feedback taken from the junior most guy whom I have interacted with to the senior most guy. And then there is a probation conference which happens wherein like if I'm the one, my name is Kotab, and then people say
yes or
no. And if yes, why? If no, why?
So this probation conference is just like a board?
Though it is kind of nowhere, I think, what do you call it, nowhere documented in any of the military regulations. This is a standard procedure in all units. And it's at the unit level. So the CEO presides over it.
It's a board.
It's a board. It's a proper board. Whether you are saying
that is exactly what I keep telling my students and my audience also, that services selection board of some specialists who are going to decide whether you're going to get inside or not. Similarly, SF ke liye bhi again it's a board that those specialists will decide whether you will come in or not. So fit hai ki nahi hai, right?
Exactly.
So this fit hai ki nahi, that will stay throughout your lifetime. Yeah. So then ye hua, and then
I went to
Kupwara.
And actually I started operating with the team. Though not independently, along with always with another officer or under a senior JSU. If I'm never independent anywhere in that probation. That 1 month I operated like that before I got marooned. Then one day I was called to, that time the battalion headquarters was again in Kupwara itself. My team was away. What happens is the SF units go and co-locate with the various other units, like the RR units. So your elements are spread all across. CO sits at one place, normally with wherever with some bigger headquarters, so that he has that thing to control operations. We need to kind of get us the clearances to operate in various areas. So this, I think 1 month into that, then me and that time my team commander, we had gone there, and I was not told that is there. I was told that there's a conference in the battalion quarter, and all officers have to go there, and then we went. And after the conference finished, and I was obviously, not part of the conference because it was at the team commander's level. And that happened, then when one runner came, he said, "Aapko bulaya hai." Then I went in, and then I got marooned there after the conference. And so when I marooned there, then the adjutant told me, now you got marooned, so now you got to get a code name also. So I'll give you 2 minutes, go out, come back and give me 3 options.
Okay.
But then I think he already had it figured. Then I got a code name, which stayed with me throughout till such time I was in the unit.
What is the code name?
It's basically because since it is J&K that for operations, so my code name was Altaf.
Altaf. Okay.
So nobody would know my name in public or any place when I go.
It's about RT communication.
It's mainly for RT communication, but even otherwise when I'm speaking, in fact, otherwise also if you're speaking, like 2-3 officers are speaking, they will probably in those contexts never speak another officer's name.
Yeah.
It's only
we have that in the Navy as well.
So based on the, like somebody's say Salman, somebody's Sikandar, so you'll say yaar Sikandar se baat karke kar dena, or you'll say ki Altaf ko bula de. So then that sticks with you throughout.
Okay.
So then that's kind of that was, I would say, a big day.
तो मरून के साथ साथ सर फिर SF भी लगा, एक साथ लगा.
Like you don't get a balidan even while after marooning also. You don't get the balidan badge again. That needs to be earned in the sense that you need to do some operations wherein again you are tested. That's a real life test, and then it generally takes about 6 months. That is when you are started operating independently in smaller operations, and then you are recommended, and it's Balidan is a proper what do you call it? It's a proper document. There is a document which says that he is awarded Balidan badge.
Okay.
It's like in army you call it the Part 2 orders.
So Balidan and special forces एक साथ लगा क्या सर? या marooning के साथ special forces?
Marooning के साथ में, but then since you are in field, in fact. That was the only day I wore that maroon beret. Other than this, I think the first time probably I wore the maroon beret was when we came back after our operational tenure. I think after 2 years.
Maybe.
There, in fact, again like in field, nobody wears.
Yeah, of course. Nobody.
You wear a patka, or and then mostly you are in t-shirts or some. If it's cold, then you are in jacket. And again, there in nobody wears a rank.
Yeah.
So it's just that the 1 day ceremony I got that beret, and that's a in fact for everybody, every probation, that's a very big day.
Yeah. So what is the first independent operation there?
I think that tenure for me that tenure was short in the sense 2001 we went in, and 2002 like 3-4 of us officers were called back to Jodhpur because we had to participate in a competition that was held in Botswana. So I stayed in J&K for about 8 months only, and then we were called back here. So during that period, and I don't think while I led a lot of patrols. But I don't think I had a, so to say, an independent operation because I was always with the team commander and this thing. While he was part of the column, I may be independent in the sense that wherever I'm, sitting in that ambush for say 2 days, 3 days, there I'm independent because I have those 2 squads, 12 people with me.
So in those 8 months, sir, how many times again the sound of incoming bullet?
Actually, Kashmir it was quite frequent. It was.
So did your team get kills?
Yes. My team got kills. We had once. In fact, we didn't lose anybody, but we had 2 cases that people got injured where we had to evacuate them and all those things.
And that time you were a squad commander?
That time I was kind of a squad commander because what happens was while in the hierarchy I was squad commander, but in effect I was kind of a troop commander because I was the only officer along with the team commander.
Yeah.
So kind of I got elevated as a deep troop commander, so I could go with the troop. So at threes I could get 3 squads. So it's about.
So what happened during this? One of the guys was shot.
So again, this was an operation wherein there was a little bit of intelligence and Kashmir. I mean, this was in Rajwad forest. So while the firefight was going on, so the guy who actually who got injured, so he had his right leg outside the cover. He was standing behind a tree and firing, but his right leg was outside the tree. He was kind of hugging the tree, but his leg was outside. And the terrorist actually lobbed there is a UBGL, the underbarrel grenade. So grenade aaya, fata, and then he got a splinter in the leg. It was actually luck that he didn't get serious injury.
And this was you were a part of that.
Yeah, I was actually not exactly part of the sense ki I was not along with that guy. I was probably about say 50 meter.
How did you evacuate this guy?
I think the guys, the SF, these guys, we don't have to, in the sense, probably an officer doesn't have to actually teach them all these things. While it is part of the process. The moment this guy is injured, that means, is taraf se fire kam aayega. So you make up. So the other guy who's there, he comes up and he ensures that abhi yahan pe koi disturb nahi hona chahiye. So you drop in heavier volume of fire from this side, and then somebody else will leave his position, come back here, pull this guy down, and the moment you are down, that means you're out of that effective range. Then the first thing is you check because it's usually like again this is dark. When it's dark, see what happens is you don't come to know. The guy will say कि मेरे को पाँव में लगी है, but you don't know whether कहीं और भी लगा है कि नहीं लगा है. The first thing that you do is you actually do a check, full check, like you actually touch from head to toe to make sure that your palms are not, kind of wet. Wet है मतलब कहीं ना कहीं से खून निकल रहा है. तो अंधेरे में you can't light a torch. Because the moment you light a torch, you are the target.
Yeah, you are lighting yourself.
You are lighting yourself. So you touch and then you check and you find here यहाँ पे लगा है. Then basic, everybody is trained at basic first aid. The first thing you do is you stop the bleeding, get him down, and then if required, you put a IV. Like the intravenous. So, and then since it was a leg injury, and again, over a period of time, people get seasoned into this. So they know that अगर पाँव पे लगा है, unless it is between your knee and the hip, where you have the what do you call it, the main artery going through your legs. Unless it is that, people know कि अगर पाँव में लगा है, इधर लगा है, तो जान का खतरा नहीं है. फर्स्ट थिंग इज टू सेव लाइफ. तो पाँव में लगा है, ठीक है, ब्लीडिंग रोको, डाउन करो, इवैक्यूएट करो, देन गाय विल बी ओके. So I think people, everybody is kind of they get, and all this experience, like you said, like people graduate, like you go into Sri Lanka, you learn something there. And all these people have done multiple operations. So I think this becomes part of the process, how to do this. So then in that case, what I can say is it was not too much of a hassle to get him out.
So then you talking about some Botswana. You had to go to Botswana.
Yeah. So that was actually in fact that is one of the things which kind of established me in the unit, because this was a competition. This was a world special forces competition. This was held in Botswana. So there were about 23 countries which took part in this,
including US, UK.
Yeah, including US, UK.
You had SAS.
Yes.
Okay.
So and then a lot of France was there, France, Belgium, and then a lot of countries from Asia, a lot of African countries, South Africa, Botswana, all these countries.
Yeah.
And so this entire competition was it was based on invitation. So this was the first time Indian Army got an invitation. And since this was in the deserts, like this was to be held in the Kalahari Desert. So since this was Kalahari Desert, so that time the chief of the army staff nominated, said it's a desert thing, let 10 para go and attend. And so again, the information per se is less. So you generally prepare about do's, and then we had this. We had four of us coming down to Jodhpur for this, and then we had a bunch of people who have been selected from the unit. Because the time was very less. So people who were in each team who were kind of physically the best guys, they were brought down to Jodhpur. So we got about a month plus to prepare for this. And we had the cinemas was a major, and rest all of us that time were captains. And then we prepared for this, and this was to be a 3-day competition when we went there. That's how we got to know it. So this entire event was held in the Kalahari Desert. The event comprised of, firstly you need to jump out of aircraft and with your load, that which basically your backpack. So whatever you need for the next 3 days, you have to carry. There is no resupply till such time the event is over.
Okay.
And it's right in the Kalahari Game Reserve. And you drop there, and then the moment you drop, you need to do a 35 kilometers run through the desert.
Okay.
It's all timed, so it's again based on points. So after the run finishes, then you are allotted an area that there are umpires who control this. So the umpire will give you a place. So there you have to tactically sight yourself for the night. And then next day again, somebody will come, and then it's a navigation through the deserts. So I think 25 kilometers navigation you have to do. And then you do a casualty evacuation, wherein you are given a log, a wooden log, about 50-60 kilos, and then you are given a parachute cloth, and then you are given 2 poles. So now you have to improvise a stretcher out of that, and then carry this log, which is about 60 kilograms, over a distance of 15 kilometers.
This is all factor 1 EI.
So this the entire idea is that after an airborne drop, you run, and now the situation is something like you have a casualty. So now you have to evacuate this casualty for next 15 kilometers. So after the CAS evac, so I think second day was these 2 activities. So both these things are timed, and when that finishes, again you're given a certain area for tactically sighting yourself. And then next day morning was the firing part of it. So before the firing, you have to do a speed run, speed march, what you call it, 10 kilometers speed march. Then followed by you end up that actually the run finishes on a range. It's a 500 meters range. So you start firing from 500 till 50 meters. So there are various at each, say 500, 400. There are different. The targets keep changing, and it's all timed fire. And at 50 meters it finishes. Then thereafter you go in. There is another range which is like a house. It's called basically a CQB range, close quarter battle. So there the firing is pistols, where it's kind of hostage situation, how you fire. That this tactical situation is given, and then there are targets, and then you go and fire. Then the judge comes and checks how many hits and all those things. So all these 3 events put together, though you are evaluated on each event, and then the winner is declared. So in that, we actually stood first. Like we had 2 teams. So from India, each team is again comprised of a squad. That is 5 people.
So 5 commandos, but 1 officer.
No.
You had 12.
No. It's 5.
10.
It is 1 officer, 4 commandos.
And you had 2. So you were 10 guys.
10 guys.
And this entire 10 ka team is India, and you came first.
Yes.
Oh my God. So this is like, and 23 countries representing.
Yes.
230 people.
Yeah.
That's quite an achievement.
Yeah, in fact, we were actually, in fact, initial days we went there. In fact, like I said, it was we also never thought that we will probably fare so well. Like when you go in there again before the competition, there is a week's orientation there because you're supposed to jump from their parachutes.
Oh.
So you're not used to those parachutes. So you are given one trial jump. And the second thing is you again don't fire with your weapons because you're not carrying your weapons. They give you the weapons.
Which weapons are these?
So that time they were using this G3A3.
Okay.
Which
but in your unit, you're accustomed to AK and Tabor.
That time actually we were using like AK. We are all accustomed to. But that time we had a Czech weapon in all the SF units, which is called the M58B, also called the VZ58. It's similar to AK, a little smaller than AK, and a little lighter. So we were all used to that. And this is a slightly bigger weapon.
Tabor and all is not a part of CR.
Tabor came in much later.
Much later.
Tabor came in somewhere in 2000 probably.
Okay.
Tabor came in much later.
So, you need to acclimatize or adjust to the new weapons, new parachute, geography.
And the most important is you need to zero the weapon.
Yeah, zeroing.
You know, zeroing आपको करना है. If you don't zero, weapon will not hit. And there's all. And then even the pistols are new. Like we have the Browning kind of pistols. We had Brownings also, we had Beretta also with us. But there, that's what we got was a pistol called P66. That's a very good pistol. It's again, I think, Swiss made pistol.
So after this Botswana, अभी तो आपने एकदम झंडा ही गाड़ दिया सर. International level पे एकदम India first. So back to unit after 3 days?
Yeah, so you back to unit and then there was a big, it was good since we came back Delhi.
So amongst all the 4 officers that you said traveling, 4, you were the senior most officer?
No. I was in fact all 3 of us were similar seniority. The Major Sir was
the senior guy.
So like I said, we had 2 teams. So each team is supposed to have 1 officer and 1 officer as the manager. So what happens is the manager is the one who represents the team in all the conferences there. Because it's a multi-country event.
Correct.
So every country needs to ensure that all things are fair. So each team is supposed to have a manager who is part of all the discussions.
Correct.
So that he knows the evaluation is fair and all things. So one officer was the manager.
But you were as a part of the cohort that was doing.
Yeah, so I was the participant.
Yeah.
And we had 1 officer who was manager of my team.
So आपने तो एकदम झंडा गाड़ दिया सर international level.
No, yeah, that is something
so that time
it's again a team effort. The practice together was excellent. And in fact, I think kudos to our team leader. Now he's a brigadier. Is Tech Major Ranade. Kudos to him. I think he even the CEO gave him leeway to plan this thing. He planned it quite well. This is the entire orientation thing in Jodhpur when we were there for those month plus. He planned the training well, and when we selected the teams, one aspect which he took care, which we later we realized was very helpful. He ensured that the heights of all the people in one team remain almost the same.
The planning can
now that
level.
Now what we realize is कि ये इसका फायदा कहाँ हुआ? When we had to do the casevac ना. Now when you are picking a stretcher, एक बंदा लंबा एक छोटा होगा ना, तो
वो कम ज़्यादा होगा.
एक तो stretcher टेढ़ा हो जाएगा, दूसरा क्या है weight कम ज़्यादा distribute होगा. So when we are all almost the same height, तो stretcher हम कंधे पे रखते थे, तो stretcher हिलता नहीं था. And it remained balanced and we could move faster.
So after Botswana, sir, the next exposure to ops?
I think we came back to unit was in 2002, and exactly a year later, 2003,
again
we went into to Kashmir. So this was a kind of again a tenure where we saw a lot of action. And again, I think this is a place where I personally saw a lot of action.
Would you like to throw some unique experiences and actions when you and your men knee deep into the actions and now get in
Yeah,
and
I
get
think
out.
I'll tell you the first one. The
Uh-huh.
first, in fact,
Mhm.
in that tenure, the first success what we got was in fact my team, Charlie team,
Mhm.
and as part of Charlie team. So in fact, I was there in that operation where we got the first success. So this was in South Kashmir.
Mhm.
So South Kashmir is built up in the sense there are villages and so there was an intelligence that there are terrorists hiding in a particular mohalla. And by the time like we reached there, it was probably about 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
Mhm.
So we had a cordon established,
Mhm.
like surrounded that place, and then we started searching the houses.
Mhm.
And then the number of houses were too much. And finally, we reached on to one particular house, which again was a complex of 3 houses.
Mhm.
There was one central house, two in the side. Then there was a place where the animals were kept, and right opposite. So यहाँ आते आते क्या अंधेरा हो गया.
Mhm.
अभी अंधेरे का प्रॉब्लम क्या है? अंधेरे में जो the teaching is don't do a search at night.
Mhm.
Because if you have to do it, because then there are more chances of firstly you missing something, and then there are more chances of you exposing your people to danger unnecessarily.
Mhm.
So now we had, and then the aspect of a lot of this, the aspect of what do you call it, the inconvenience to people at night,
Mhm.
all these things, then people, you kind of people tend to get bad publicity in the press. So when any bad publicity, it affects the organization at large.
Okay.
So those things you need to take care.
Mhm.
So now, but then the guy said he was with us only somewhere behind, and then this guy said कि सब खबर पक्का है, तो मेरे को बताया कि बंदा तो है.
Okay.
अब now there is a dilemma कि पता कैसे करें. तो as a precaution, what we do is we remove all the people inside. We request, like we take the help of police and everybody. And the people are requested to move out their houses, and then they are kind of made to stay in a safe zone, and then only the search starts. So this was kind of the one of the last houses. So now we had to take a chance. कि अब अंदर घुसे तो then there is a risk. We don't know कहाँ पे निकलेगा. So then I took a calculated risk. I said since this guy is convinced, what I did, I asked him to. Me and one more guy, we said what we'll do is we'll fire, and because he was staying in that house, we probably reached say about 30-40 meters of the house. So we said we'll fire as if we know that somebody is inside. अगर अंदर हुआ तो he'll fire back. That is the only chance of confirming that there is somebody. So we took that risk. So me and my buddy, we went ahead, and actually there was no cover. So we actually knelt down, and then we acted as if we could see somebody inside, and we took 2 shots each time. And the moment we took the shots, we got a volley of burst from inside. So luckily both of us were not hit. And the fire came in. Now it's confirmed that this is the guys inside. Then the entire story changes. Then you tighten the cordon, and the whole night the firefight went on. There were 3 people inside. So again, because the night we don't know. So then we immediately ran across, and then there was another. I said that structure. Kashmir, where they keep this cattle inside.
Yeah.
So there is a false roof kind of a thing.
Correct.
So then we climbed onto that. So that was where we could get a level, kind of eye level with the other house. So then we kept engaging based on the sound, or what if spark comes in this thing. So the whole night it kept changing, because the general tactics is that people, the terrorists, they try and engage, and then once it is later part of the night, you try to slip away. And especially, and it usually happens, they make an attempt, especially after say 12 to 1 or something, because you're sitting for so long. It's human tendency that
that's the time period you will go thoda sa lax,
and people tend to sleep and all those things. So though nobody would sleep there, but still that your alertness may come down.
Levels come down.
So what they do is they probably throw a volley of fire or maybe throw grenades, and then create a commotion, then run away.
Yeah.
So there were 2-3 such attempts, but then I think the people were alert and they kept on firing. And in the morning, then we actually brought the house down. In the sense, again, that's another operation itself, how you do it, because you have to ensure that there is no collateral damage and all these things.
Yeah.
So again, now to go and place that again is a challenge. So you need somebody to give cover fire. You cover fire, and then you put this thing inside. Then you create an explosion. Then the house caves, caves in, collapses, and then again
फिर check
करो. And then generally what happens, ऐसे में होता है, तो people in the early morning, the guy also knows कि यार अब तो कुछ रहा नहीं, तो then they make that last dash effort, fire करते हुए बाहर आ जाएगा उसमें. But in this case, one of the guys tried to come out. He was shot, so the others stayed inside. So when this explosion came in, there was another burst of fire, but I think they could not come out of it. They were caught in the rubble. So that's how it ended in the morning. I think it ended by 6:30 in the morning. So that was the first, my first operation in J&K. So
you continued doing this then for how long were there, sir? इसके बाद में in this?
We were there for about 1.5 years there.
J&K, South Kashmir.
South Kashmir, and later on we went to North Kashmir also in Bandipora. Bandipora was again that time I think one of the hottest.
Sopor, Bandipur, Kupwara.
Bandipura was, in fact, Bandipura. There's a story which goes probably few years preceding our arrival there. Bandipura people used to some of these shops, used to even use Pakistani currency also, and because it was actually a kind of reception area for all the
It's sitting right next to the POK line.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's
like if you
very
go,
close.
if you Bandipura ahead, if you actually go, that is the what do you call it? You have the Rajdan Pass, which is there, and then across that is the Neelam Valley.
Correct.
So Neelam Valley is actually the Pakistan part of it.
Yeah.
So that there's an infiltration route which actually comes in. So Bandipura becomes the first reception area.
Yeah.
And then from Bandipura, then you cross probably 2 ridges and you are into Srinagar.
Yeah.
So Bandipura was hot. And Kashmir, actually, we had a lot of interesting, because South Kashmir, the types of operations, you do a lot of operations in an unconventional manner also. In the sense where probably you are dressed up
in
ferens and all these things. So for that you need to be very thorough with. It's not like you're just wearing a feren, because वो जो कुर्ता पैजामा पहनने का भी तरीका होता है. The way probably a militant will wear it, Pakistani, how does he wear it, and then how does he speak. Basically your look also has to change, and then the way you conduct and move. So all those and then what becomes little challenging is because these kind of operations you have to do in very, very small teams. You cannot have more than say 4 to 6 people in that. So and then you have to be independent, and once you are in say Feren and all this local dress, you cannot carry any kind of protective equipment. You cannot wear a BPJ, nothing. You can wear nothing, because वो तो वैसे ही दिख जाएगा, दूर से दिख जाएगा कि ये तो फौजी ये करे. So you have to so for that we put together a team. For the first thing is we need to have people with that kind of aptitude, and then people who कि अकेला भी ये संभाल लेगा. You require a person who kind of doesn't fizzle out when the thing comes, and under pressure he will hold his own. So then you require people who can drive, and then some guy who can speak a little Urdu, some guy, and there's a process to it.
Punjabi, Pashtun, Kashmiri, Urdu,
and then you learn दुआ सलाम कैसे करते हैं, वो कोई कलमा कैसे पढ़ना है. All these things, not everybody, but there are people who do that. because even with the Pakistani terrorists also, it's not like everybody knows कलमा क्या होता है, ये सब क्या होता है. But yes, you have to आपको जो है नमाज का तरीका आपको सीखना पड़ता है.
वो सीखा, आपने सीखा सर?
Yeah,
You accustomed to all this.
yeah.
So after this operation, sir, next, when was the first? Have you ever had the chance to go without a BP in the Ferren and you're out in the field and?
Yeah, I think most of the time I was without a BP only, because I kind of I put together a team like this. In fact, they were there were precedents to it. A lot of people earlier have done it, but in that tenure, in my team, I kind of selected a few people, and then we had a lot of success with that operation. In those kind of operations wherein it was.
डर नहीं लगा सर आपको ऐसे एकदम बिना बीपी के फेरन पहन के यू आर आउट एकदम एंड अंदर यू मस्ट बी होल्डिंग वेपन एंड ऑल?
हाँ, मतलब उसका भी तरीका मतलब you know, and actually you when you do that you always use the captured weapons. Like what you have captured from a terrorist, you use that weapon, because वो जो हमारा issue type weapon है वो भी अलग दिखता है, because जो captured weapon होगा उसका look भी अलग होगा, उसमें वो 3-4 जगह पे टेप लगी होगी, all those things. From a even from a close inspection, you should not be able to, nobody can make out कि आप कौन, and then you have to be among people, which is something which is different from probably special operations.
So basically नया नाम, लोगों के साथ दोस्ती यारी,
yes,
उठना बैठना,
वो सब करना पड़ता है. And then you can never use military vehicles. You have to use अपने sumo is the most popular mode, so you use sumos and all that. And then when you go to people's houses, you have to eat what they give you, and all those things. So that kind of, I think it was kind of new and exciting for me. And then probably adaptability was there, so I could do it well. And in fact, it was so there were people, there were
Mallu officer and getting adapted to ways of
I think that is probably a lot of people have told me that. But then I think it's an advantage, because probably the way I speak Hindi was, I never had that accent of a Mallu.
Yeah, we can feel that.
So and then language is something which probably I can learn a little faster. So I think again this is.
How many languages can you speak?
I think
English, Hindi, Malayalam.
See, English, Hindi, Malayalam, Gorkhali, Tamil. Now a bit of Kannada I can speak. So
and some parts of Kashmiri.
I can say not Pashto, but Urdu, yes. But some part of I could understand some part of Kashmiri. How to ask a naam, cheke suna, and all this. So those things you. But then when you are there in those kind of operations, you're not even if you don't know Kashmiri, it's okay, because most of these people who come from across, they are speaking Urdu and kind of, and their Punjabi mixed Hindi, like Dogri also helps. But if you speak Hindi and then with a little what do you call it, that lehja, diction has to be different. So you can.
Sir, any operation that that you've gone beyond the lines and then you've come back and things like that. But then this is going to be so extreme कि either the chances of coming back was so bleak कि now you have to bend everything and you have to make it back. Anything that you can remember?
See, I think those kind of things probably, I cannot talk here. But what I can tell you is, a situation wherein, you kind of had to be, wherein it could have gone bad. So, we again, we had certain end sources and some agencies who could help us, there on ground. But there was a case wherein now, even now and those days also, say in Srinagar downtown, say Lal Chowk, that area. Lal Chowk is the heart of Srinagar. So those locations were out of bound for army operations. In fact, it was CRPF and BSF, which were, because it was
JKP.
JKP.
Yeah.
JKP is everywhere, but those areas, it was BSF and CRPF who was supposed to manage those areas, law and order. So downtown Srinagar was out of kind of, in the sense, army doesn't run operations there, on a daily basis. So there was this case of intelligence wherein there were 3 people who had come in from Pakistan, and they were staying in one place. So that source was tapped, and these people were supposed to come to Lal Chowk to buy shoes. We had this source who said, now Lal Chowk is the busiest street
In Srinagar.
full of people, and a very notorious place in those days.
Yeah,
In
yeah.
the sense, you could have grenade attacks, multiple grenade attacks, all these things.
This was 2000?
This was 2003.
Hmm.
So now again we had to go in that what do you call it, civil dress.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody also cannot. So we had 2 people in ferens, and we had to now if we get these guys, we'll have to pick them up and take them out also, because there again it's we cannot have a situation where we have firefight,
Mm-hmm.
because if it goes early, there will be a lot of civilian casualties in this, and this will come into national media obviously.
Mm-hmm.
So we had to do something which is clean,
Mm-hmm.
decisive and clean. So we had one of the guys with our sumo in one of the corners of Lal Chowk. He had a radio set, and then 4 of us we got down, and then we covered the street in the sense 2 on either side and 2 on the other side. So then now we had to wait for the cue from this guy, where that guy had come. And now we cannot, it's a street, so you cannot be standing there with no reason. So people tend to point out, it's unnatural for somebody to just
Suspicious. Okay.
suspicious. Okay. So then you have to look like you're talking, so you talk, and then I'm a non-smoker actually.
Mm-hmm.
So now to do something, so I went to the pan guy. I said, cigarette dena. I took a cigarette.
Your mouth fagging.
Mouth hugging. I did mouth hugging to make it look natural. And I gave one cigarette to my other guy also.
Mm-hmm.
Then this guy suddenly, the source was it. He suddenly started walking.
Mm-hmm.
He could not actually speak. He started walking. He just looked like this and he started walking.
Mm-hmm.
So now we know something is there. So now we went about 10 steps behind him. And he was in a ferret. He was middle-aged kind of a guy. And he went, one of the shops, he stops there. Then he does this. Looks at one shop for about 3 seconds. And then he quickly vanishes from there.
Mm-hmm.
So now this is this shop.
Mm-hmm.
So then kept 2 guys outside.
Mm-hmm.
When he moved in,
Mm-hmm.
again isharo mein ki you stay outside. Me and another guy, he went in, and so we found there were 3 guys,
Mm-hmm.
and plus but there were 2, 3 ladies also there, who were also doing shopping. So then quickly we had to do something, and while the guys were busy in that shoes, he quickly told the ladies isharo mein ki move out, and they moved out, and then these guys, when the ladies moved out, these guys suddenly become a little suspicious why they're moving out. So one of them turned around. So then we had to do something. So I said in Hindi itself, I said, I've seen you somewhere. I said, कहीं देखा है तेरे को? क्या नाम है तेरा? Then he told me his name, and when I said वही bench पे, I said look जूते यहाँ check करते हैं वहीं बैठ जा, and नाम क्या है उससे उसने पूछा. I said basically the Srinagar police also has a special branch.
Mm-hmm.
They also operate there.
Mm-hmm.
I told him special branch का हो, पूछ तेरा नाम क्या है, ID दिखा दे. उसने बैठा नाम बताया कुछ, but then the intel was confirmed कि यही बंदे हैं. So the only thing is to find out, because if these guys are armed and they start firing, then it will be very difficult, because while we were carrying pistols, all of us, but then there can be civilian casualties. So I had to take an initiative. So I just went and hug that guy to check whether he's carrying anything, any bigger weapon, whether it's AK or something. Usko kiya, and then we didn't do anything. I told the other guy, उसमें गब्बर होती है, गब्बर अंदर आ इसको पकड़, and गले मिला, and जो जूता है, जूते का लेस निकाला, इसके हाथ में बांधा, फिर पहले फिरन उतारा, हाथ बांधा, and ऊपर से फिरन बना दिया. So now you can't make out कि इसके हाथ में बंधे हुए हैं. And then जैसे ही तीनों का ये खत्म हुआ, ड्राइवर जसपाल, he came in the vehicle, गाड़ी शॉप के सामने दरवाजा खोला, तीनों को अंदर डाला, and just vanished from there. And so, and then later on, it took a little while for us to थोड़ा
Question and answer session होगा ना फिर तो.
शुरू में तो बताता नहीं, but then you
take some time. You have your own tactics.
Yeah. And then, so within an hour पता लग गया कि यही है. And in fact, those guys were actually part of one of the like it's when you make a group infantry, it's called a track. So they were the people who had actually got multiple tracks. So by evening we had even the IB coming there and questioning them. So they were people who could give a lot of background information on which future operations can also plan. So that was I think a thing. That was a wherein I realized that because we just two of us inside the shop. If something would have gone wrong, there were three of them, and it was only that I think only the confident behavior that probably kind of self-confidence, which in our confidence actually with our confidence they thought कि यार ये तो कुछ गड़बड़ है करके. So these guys also didn't react anything, which in hindsight I was thinking had they reacted or done something, probably it could have been ugly, very ugly. But then I think we had to take a chance. So me and my buddy that time Gabbar, so
confidence, courage.
When Gabbar is again a well-built guy, so I told Gabbar उठाना पड़ेगा, and I went in, गले मिला and गाड़ी में डाला. So that was and this is and while all this is there, what I was coming to is this is because as a small team, when you are together for so long, the other person responds to you that much better, and he understands
the way of functioning.
कि किस time पे escalate करना है, किस time पे
de-escalate
चुप रहना है, all those things.
Yeah. Very well. Yeah. So then after this Kashmir, where did you go after Kashmir?
So I think this is south in Kashmir. Then after I said we moved to Bandipur. Bandipur had we in fact
every other day was off.
It was operation, and in fact Bandipur we also suffered a lot of casualties.
How do you handle casualties, sir? Because the same guy, family,
exactly
bonding.
So, that is something which probably you are kind of prepared in a sense that at the end of the day you realize that the other guy is also carrying a weapon. And somewhere I think the traditions of the unit and everything, because you hear a lot of stories from your serious, like people have gone through Sri Lanka. Again, while they have success, you lost a lot of people also. So and each tenure, in every unit there is a war memorial wherein we have a list of all the martyrs, which that is more pious than any temple to us. So we see all their names. So we realize कि it's a कि यार बड़ी ये दोनों टाइप का गेम मतलब ना ये मतलब अगर आपका टाइम है तो जाना पड़ेगा कि but sir then I would say one of we lost an officer also, in fact my invitee Sajjan Singh Malik, who got a Kirti Chakra. So Malik's the way Malik went also was was again very what do you call it, we never expected something to happen. It is like a day prior.
Which was this ops? You were a part of this ops?
Yes.
And he was in your team?
I'm sorry, I was not part of this operation because, in fact, we were in Srinagar. We had come down from Bandipur. We had come to Srinagar for one of the administrative things. We have these promotion exams and all this.
Correct, yeah. Boards and all that.
So we had come for a promotion exam, part D or part B. Yeah, part D. So I had one paper left. So I think my paper was the last. Malik had 2 other papers. So his papers finished a day prior. So it was like, and me and him, we were sleeping in that same room, in a bunk bed. So Malik was top, I said, everybody. We were just talking. It's just the previous night. The previous night. And he said, मेरा हो गया, मैं जा रहा हूँ. आप आ जाना करके. And he went back. And that the day he went back, in fact, he must have reached in the afternoon or something. And same day he went out for an operation. And while we had success in that operation, in fact, we had 3 terrorists killed, but then we lost Malik in that operation. And next day early morning, all this is happening, in the night. We come to know कि कुछ हुआ है, operation हुआ है. And early hours of the morning is when actually this firefight took place, and Malik got multiple shots, and and then morning Srinagar, the base hospital in Srinagar, get up in the morning, there is a message obviously that
आपका unit officer है तो आपको पता चल
evacuation हो रहा है करके, through helicopter. So then I actually went, we took with our vehicles, we went to the helipad that is inside the cantonment, 1548. And I actually, still that time, it was only that he's getting evacuated. Moment you get evacuated, which means that the guy is alive. You do only air evacuation only when a person is alive. So that is the hope that he had, and probably he was still alive, or and that I received him in the airport helipad, and when you say ambulance, but okay, went to the base hospital. And by the time, because the communication flows, base hospital knows there's a casualty coming in this thing. And Jate, he was put into that emergency procedure. You put, what do you call it, those defibrillators. So all this is happening in front of me, because जैसे आया डॉक्टर ने, first thing he did was that IV डाल के defibrillator, because I think he was not getting a pulse. And then after about 5 minutes, he said, sorry. That was, it was something like, a day prior, he was speaking.
Sir, मैं exam लेके आ गया, आप चले जाओ.
And then he was actually, that time he was thinking of getting engaged to a girl. So he was telling me about, कि सर मेरा बात हो गया है, ये this है, तो I feel सर अब मुझे settle down हो जाना चाहिए, अच्छी लड़की है. ऐसे करके, तो वो मतलब you are on a different mindset altogether. And when this happens, and so you have to carry on, since while it's a irreparable loss, but then so this is, and then similarly we had another operation where, in fact, I think that was again a very good operation, but in the end, while we get success, but then the issue is when we lose people, we sometimes feel that this is.
So how many years were you there as a part of full theater level ops, or let's say, I don't know, I mean, that's the naval term that we use, but let's say valley ops, for how many years?
Yeah, all put together, I think I've had 3 tenures there, so about
6-7 years. 6-7 years.
Yeah.
And then, other than, so there, as a part of 10 para, other than that, sir, where all places have you been?
See, I've been, I think one of my initial postings was I was in 4 Corps, that is in the east, Assam. So there I was staff officer. I was actually the ADC to the Corps commander there. Then I was in Africa for a year. I was military observer with United Nations.
Oh wow, lovely. This we didn't touch. So what happens in UN?
UN has again, I think, brilliant praise to learn a lot of things about other armies, cultures, and actually till such time one doesn't see Africa. You see Africa, you appreciate India so much. Because what the kind of poverty that we see there, you just cannot imagine in India. I mean, and there are areas which have total lawlessness. It's one gang fighting another, and the kind of brutality these guys are possible. You can't even imagine that these guys are.
So you were in Sudan, Congo.
No, I was in Congo. Congo was a war zone that time. Like, there were again two or three rival groups fighting against the government. So UN was there in a big way, and so the concept of being like there, the deployment is of two types. One is you go in as a battalion. Like there are very countries who send their forces. So these people form part of the UN. Like we have brigades here. UN also has brigades. So they form part of brigades, and then they are deployed in conflict zones to control the entire area.
Were you wearing a maroon or sky blue?
So there I'm wearing a this thing,
Sky blue.
Like you wearing a sky blue. While I did carry my maroons, but then there you have to wear the
Sky blue.
UN sky blue cap. And
but then you still put special forces.
Yeah, that you put. That actually every post, like all other armies. Like say I was not part of the battalion. I was part of a military observer team. So military observers are like battalion, the entire battalion moves. Military observers go through a different selection method, wherein you're interviewed individually. And when you are a military observer, you work as part of a multi-country contingent. Like the idea is MILOBs are what they call. MILOBs work in team sites. Team sites are remote locations in different parts of the entire country. Wherein like initially I was in a team site wherein we were 6 of us. All the concept is they follow a thing called the rainbow culture. That means not more than one person can be of one country.
So you are 6 people. Which are the other 5 countries?
So I had one person from what do you call Nepal. I had one person from China. I had one person from Senegal, one from there was a country called Benin, which I never realized कि ऐसा country है.
Okay.
This country called Benin. Benin, and then there was one guy from Romania.
Okay.
So all and we had one more guy called from Zambia. Initially 7 of us. So all of us stay in a single house. It's again the concept is you have to go find your own place to live. But then what happens is since all of us stay together, so it's kind of the house gets handed over. So before me there was somebody else from another country. So when he moved out, I got when I got inducted to UN. They say that they saw wherever there is a requirement, so I was sent to this team site. So this is a remote place wherein our only connection to the UN logistic base, which is about 2 hours away from by helicopter. So it's a helicopter which drops you there, and then these people they have the team side. You have vehicles, 2 vehicles. Then you have communication, satellite communication, all these things. But then you are very vulnerable because as a military observer, you are not supposed to carry any weapons.
Oh.
Because military observer is supposed to be neutral. So you have to interact with both the parties, the rebels and also the military. And people come and complain to you about both the parties. Even you are supposed to do patrolling there. Their patrolling happens by vehicles and some locations by helicopters. So you go there. The idea is each day you go to a village, sit with the village people and this thing, ask them, so they give you inputs. What are their problems?
What's the language of communication there?
They're they speak. A lot of people speak French there. and the local language is Swahili. So now there we have an interpreter. Like each team site has got a interpreter who is local. So interpreter goes with you, and he is the one who communicates in this thing. But then basic terms like say hello, how to say hello and all this, that he teaches.
That you will obviously pick up over.
Yeah.
And you said you're good with languages.
So there again, again that basic Swahili terms, you say jumbo is like say hello. So all those things. So again, that's a very good experience because people from different countries, you get to know how what are their outlook to life.
Social intelligence, tact. Yeah.
And then this is so remote, this place, and there is no electricity. And so while you have a generator, and to run the generator, the helicopter supplies you fuel every 2 weeks. So you have to conserve because all your systems you require power. So you run the generator, and that does time when you have satellite communication on, then you have a laptop on, then you send your reports and this thing. So usually you save the fuel because you don't know if the weather goes bad. You can't get fuel or anything.
Did you have any encounter of operations here?
Not exactly encounter, but then we had a lot of situations where people come in, protest and all these things. So you have to kind of handle it in a mass scale protest. So you have to while you have the interpreter, but then you have to handle it in a very and then that is how like there is an emergency protocol as a MyLab. You are always supposed to carry there's a small bag which is called the emergency pack. So that you are supposed to carry all the time, in which you are supposed to have your passport, some dollars in that, then your emergency ration, that is you have few biscuits and all these things, and then you have water bottle. So this is always ready with you, always. So that if like there have been instances where people have to abandon the team site. So you have to. So again there is that you have the vehicles. So you abandon.
And all vehicles will have that UN.
Everything. It's a white colored vehicle, and that way UN gives you very good vehicles. Like they're all Toyota 4x4 vehicles, and so the idea is you call for help, or you take your vehicle, escape, and then call for help for the helicopter. The helicopter can come; it will come. Otherwise, you are on your own. So that is how you're supposed. So because of that reason, you're supposed to kind of maintain the friendship with the local people. That you don't kind of they don't kind of harm you or something. Otherwise, you're quite vulnerable because you're only 6 people. You can't do anything. I think if something happens in the evening or the night, no helicopter can come there. In there. So that gives you. While I think the army gives you that confidence, and then once you are there, you come the team strength.
So you went, and then you came back to India after that. So
I came back to India after that, and I was in staff. I was in staff in one of the divisions. I was doing the grade 2 operations. Then from there I moved as an instructor to the Special Forces Training School.
SFTS. Which is
that was in Nahan.
Now
it's gone to another location. It's in Bucklow now.
Bucklow. So you were an instructor there.
I was instructor there.
And then you retired as commandant somewhere.
I retired in the rank of colonel. Actually, from SFTS, I came back to unit 10 para. Then again I went to J&K. Then I was 2IC of the unit for some time. Then I got promoted when I got promoted. So I actually commanded a Assam Rifle unit. Because my immediate senior had taken over 10 para. So in fact, there was no vacancy. In fact, anywhere in the regiment. That in my batch, I think 6 or 7 of us had to go out. We were 3 of us who went to Assam Rifles to command. So there again.
Which area did you command?
I commanded 26.
26.
I commanded in 26. I was in Manipur. Again, I think.
Purana Ilaka.
No, but this was a different Ilaka because I went to. That time I was in a place called. It was Taming Long district. Part of. This time I was in a place called Suresh Chandpur. Suresh Chandpur is again if you happen to notice the recent news, all this these clashes were taking place in Suresh Chand that area. So then my battalion was on a sort of very difficult terrain on the Myanmar border. So there again it was good, interesting tenure, and the operations were different there, and we had some success there also.
Militants?
Yes. So militants plus what do you call it? Large caches of.
So, sir, Assam Rifles, right?
Yeah.
So Assam Rifles too, sir, it comes under MHA.
MHA.
MHA. So now you have certain officers who go on deputation to AR, and then you have certain people who join AR directly.
AR has its own cadre, but
cadre,
yeah, like they are promoted from the ranks.
Yeah. So, sir, how does it feel to command like you're coming from regular army and then you have officers who are on deputation?
Actually, Assam Rifles, while it is part of the MHA, but I would say the culture there is very similar to army, because in the sense, at least because most of the officers are from army, while they are, it's a mix in the sense that you have officers coming on deputation from all arms and services.
And the CEO is a para officer.
And yeah, so
that's like a very different thing. Because you are attuned to officers who are para officers, and then
that adjustment one has to do, because again you have to go with an open mind, because see, each, like Assam Rifles has a way of, especially because the rank and file, they have a different mentality altogether, because they have lived a different life, and the other important factor is the age factor. Like being part of the MHA, what happens is the retiring age there is 60 years. So you have this is one thing I analyzed when I went there. So we had 40% of the unit which is above 40 years of the age. Above 40.
Does that lessen your fighting capability?
I think if we compare with the regular army, if you see in a unit, you will have probably 10% people only, or less, who are above 40. Here it is about 40% above. And there are people who are above 50 also. So now, all said and done, while they are good troops, no doubt. Again, the way you train them and lead them also makes a difference. But then yes, what happens is the efficiency does go wrong. If somebody is above 50, you cannot expect him to be that agile and that alert to be of somebody.
How did you adjust, because you were coming from a very, very high agile, high momentum?
Again, it takes a bit of adjustment, but the troops are good. In fact, the sense they respond to you once they see you that a person is genuine, feels means business. So then and then there again the tasking is not to the way it is, say they what probably I was used to. So there again, because you have a lot of what I could say routine tasks, something like the road opening, like the sanitization of the road before a convoy goes. While it's a very tedious operation, but then it is something not which probably I have not done earlier. Like there it's more of say the high risk operating in small teams. Here it is, the scale is large. For road opening, it is like 60 people going together. So the operations, the entire nature of operation is different. So then you keep people like that. You have, so and then there you select your what do you call it, crack team. Then you know that when you have to go in for a different kind of operation, then you use this kind of team. And then for the routine tasks, you use these people. So it builds on, and they also kind of people also adjust to it. In fact, I was kind of fortunate to have a very good set of officers there.
So after command, then you came to SFTS.
After command, I came to the Airborne Training School, the Army Airborne Training School.
Can you throw more light? Tell the audience what exactly is Army Airborne Training.
Yeah, it's a fantastic establishment. It is India's only airborne training school, and it has a very long history, and it goes back to pre-independence, wherein the school in fact was in present day Pakistan, and after partition, the Indian portion of the school actually came on a train and then came to Agra. So the Airborne Training School is the, I can say, what do you call it? It's the alma mater for all paratroopers. Anybody who has done paratrooping has gone to the Airborne Training School. So for that matter, it's the alma mater for all paratroopers. And apart from this, they have a plethora of other courses. The free fall course. Then you have the jump master courses. Then apart from these courses, there are a lot of courses which deal with the classic airborne operations, wherein you drop the heavy loads and all these things. So there is a course called the heavy drop course. Then there is an aerial delivery course. Like aerial delivery course focuses on say Siachen, how troops are sustained. It is through airdrops. So those airdrops are taught here.
Okay.
How to pack that parachute, how to pack the load, and how to drop it. So all those things are taught in the Airborne Training School.
And so does it mean that it's an amalgamation of people from the Air Force and the Army both?
Yes. Like it's in fact Navy also.
Navy,
yeah. Because we have a lot of people from Navy also coming for the various courses. And especially the aerial.
Marcos?
Marcos also. Marcos coming for the para basic, the free fall courses, and then we have a course especially for officers. So there again we have the vacancies goes to all. In fact, goes to Air Force and Navy also. In fact, most of the courses we have a lot of foreign officers coming in for the courses, and with time AATS has in fact kind of developed a lot. In fact, any new platform that comes into the army, say we had recently if you see we have the C130s and then the C17 Globemasters coming to the army. So any new for a paradrop there are two things that are required. One is you require a parachute, second is you require a platform. So where both these things meet are at AATS. So whether it's a new parachute getting inducted, the trials will always happen at AATS.
So you were a commandant?
I was the commandant.
You were the commandant of the school. And after that you hung boots?
Yeah, after that I hung from there.
Okay, so this was after 21 years of...
This was 21 years.
So OTA, Gorkhas, para, AR, again back to para. So... how do you think, sir, your journey was there in the army? How was your life?
Excellent there. I think I couldn't have asked for anything better, I think. When I look back at it, I think I've been fortunate. I've been fortunate to have, got the opportunities that I got. And, excellent teammates.
There must have been multiple times that you were shot at.
Multiple times. And again, I would say, I think, thanks to God Almighty. This again, jokingly, some, in our unit, people used to say, in fact, JCOs and NCOs also.
Altaf.
बोला लगना होगा तो गोली पेड़ के 4 चक्कर काट के भी आके लगेगी, लेकिन नहीं लगना होगा तो नहीं लगेगी. Like I'll tell you one instance since you mentioned this. I think one of the times where again I think it's it's courtesy the Almighty. We had one of the operations. We had we had 2 kills, but one of our guy had got injured, and he actually got total 5 bullets. He's again Suresh. His name is Suresh, and Suresh is karate black belt. He is an physically is very, very tough. And probably that's what saved him. So Suresh got 3 bullets around here and 2 in his arm. So in fact, I think 1 here, and 1 was somewhere here, and then 2 in his arms. So so when he was lying down, so the blood flow was not much. That initial, what I told you, that initial drill. So that was done. and that entire area, there is, it's on the slope of a spur. There is a kacha rasta which can take one gypsy max. And so we obviously didn't take any vehicles for the operation. So vehicle was about 5 odd kilometers away, where we had the base of the team. So the team commander came with the vehicle, and since it was a casevac, he had to come in a single vehicle. Otherwise, you normally secure and don't take the risk of traveling in a vehicle. So he came in a single vehicle, and by the time we were kind of patching this guy up, and IV was done, but he was looking okay and he was speaking also. But the moment he picked him, from उसके पीठ के पीछे से ऐसे ऐसे ना नल खुल गया ना, ऐसे निकला. And team commander was now is a brigadier, Hada sir. In fact, Hada sir is again Suresh Chand. So जैसे उसको उठाया ऐसे निकला, then उसको पीछे से पैच किया. Then Hada sir took me to a side. बोला इसकी ज़्यादा लगी है. Because initially हम thought कि ज़्यादा लगा नहीं इसके. जैसे ही वो निकला सर कि इसको निकालना पड़ेगा जल्दी से जल्दी. तो I said कि सर मैं गाड़ी लेके जाता हूँ, आप बाकी वाइंड अप करा देना. Because this is only one part of the operation. The other people are still out. So I said कि सर ये मैं लेके जाता हूँ. Then now he is a big man. जिप्सी में पीछे ना अब तो सीट फोल्ड करके इसको लिटाया नीचे. I went in first. इसको लिटाया, and on my thigh I put his head, and then उसका IV was in my hand, and with my second hand I pressed on his wound. He had somewhere close to his liver. And then there was a driver, and there was one co-driver, and one guy who was the nursing assistant, who was the VFNA guy, who was the medic in that thing. So he was actually hanging out of the gypsy like this, and 4 of us. And I said, निकालो करके. And उसमें normally what we do is whenever we go into such places, we don't switch on the lights, or we use the dim lights, so that nobody can make out from a distance जो गाड़ी आ रहा है. But in this case, this was a medical evacuation. इसको जितनी जल्दी निकालना था, तो लाइट जला के निकाला हमने. We would have moved about a kilometer and we got ambushed. And that was, I think, the moment when I thought, यार ये तो मतलब मुश्किल है. And it was such heavy fire, and couldn't do anything also because हथियार भी साइड में रखा हुआ था. And I think probably that first 5 seconds and volley of fire coming, the driver was Chandan. I think hats off to that guy. He got one bullet here, and but then the vehicle का glass टूट गया, and उसका splinter उसकी left आंख में चला गया. But Chandan didn't tell me this. So the first thing I did was, and when this happened, the co-driver had a weapon. He fired back. He fired, so there was a little silence. And the guy who was hanging outside, he had a graze weapon. And luckily, he got a weapon, this thing, bullet. And Surender Saab, ऐसे ही Surender Saab मेरे लग गई. And I was like, यार एक ये पड़ा है ना, मैं क्या तीन हो गए, मैं क्या दिखाऊंगा करके, मुंह किसका मुंह दिखाऊंगा. And then I told Chandan ऐसे करके, सुन मैं कंधे वाले, मैं कहा चंदन तू ठीक है ऐसे. चंदन said ठीक है. मैंने कहा फिर you abuse a bit. So I said निकाल गाड़ी. And Chandan did that. उसने फिर वो निकाला गाड़ी. And then we got that gap when this guy fired back. There was a lull. हमने गाड़ी निकाल ली वहाँ से. And when we reached the team base, and by the time people knew because fire ka आवाज आया है. And when he was going on, so I checked on Surender. Again I said, so Surender, when he said मेरे लग गई, and he said कि मैंने कहा कहाँ लगी, सिर पे लगी. मैंने कहा यार तो but then वही अंधेरे में मैंने कहा सुरेंद्र अंदर आ गया, तो मैंने सुरेंद्र का सिर पूरा ऐसे छाना. तो my hand was still dry. I said मतलब it was not much, very minimal. तो मैंने कहा सुरेंद्र तो ठीक है, ज्यादा लगी नहीं है. So he had a kind of a scratch. He was again lucky. Scrape करके चला गया. हम वहाँ पहुँचे, and that when we reached there, then Chandan said साहब मेरे लगी. But luckily again he had a scrap here and eyes was this thing. So there immediately by then they had a military ambulance waiting. Again we put everybody inside and then we continued to Srinagar. Your helicopter could not come in the night. So and now this is going on and then now Suresh is as he's losing blood, so he's saying and you start getting said sab मेरे दो बच्चे हैं ये है at least and then to keep him pumped up you have to abuse him कुछ नहीं हुआ तेरे then he is saying कि साहब मेरे बच्ची को बताना मैं उसको बहुत प्यार करता हूँ and then then you have to kind of pump up these guys and you have to sometimes abuse थप्पड़ मारो उसको and थोड़े आगे गए and again I was telling you this is again what I was giving an example of जिस दिन नहीं मरना होगा ना उस दिन नहीं मरेगा and we went ahead about 5-6 kilometers. What happened suddenly this ambulance switched off light went smoking and मतलब गाड़ी नहीं चल रही क्या हो गया तो बंद हो गया what happened उसका फ्यूज निकल गया फ्यूज बॉक्स तो luckily वो वही बोला यार क्या हो गया अचानक मैंने सेट किया फ्यूज चेक कर वो फ्यूज डाउन था फ्यूज चेंज किया गाड़ी निकाली we reached probably about 11ish Srinagar BH and Suresh was still talking. We didn't let him sleep and kept pumping him and reached there. उसको फटाफट surgical उसमें डाला and since he was this thing so the doctor immediately had a surgeon have a look बोला यार this looks bad but anyway let me check उसको डाला एक्सरे में luckily for him इसका जो ये वाला wound था the bullet did not puncture his liver it was just resting against his liver and उसका ये वाला bullet where he was losing blood so that they patched up but they said कि यार we will have to immediately go in for surgery इसको surgical procedure कराना पड़ेगा and you'll इसका blood group AB positive है इसको you require at least 7 units of
किसी को भी पकड़ लो यहाँ पे लगाओ इसका AB positive दिख रहा है
so but then that's a good system but then again what as luck would have it I was AB positive
okay
so I said doc so immediately they started surgery we took my blood first and meanwhile we had donors coming in and what I'm saying is कि after 5 bullets Suresh survived Suresh not only survived Suresh got back to his physical fitness today Suresh runs ultra marathons he runs ultra marathons today even though he's 50 plus now he will be 52 53 so he's so that analogy was somebody saying ki if it's your time you probably
what is his full name sir
he's Suresh Chand
he was one of the Johnnies
yeah he retired as a JCO and one of the fittest guys in the unit
Suresh Chand मतलब हरियाणा
no he's from Himachal
yeah Chand yeah he was Suresh Chand wonderful
so that analogy what I'm saying ki if somebody has to die probably a single bullet would do or he may even die in accident but doesn't नहीं मरना होगा so after 5 bullets also after 5 bullets after all these things गाड़ी खराब होना बीच में ambush हो जाना all these things के बाद भी he survived and 4 of us in that vehicle and in that ambush we all lived in a sense only Chandan had a bullet and I was in the body of the vehicle with so much fire it was just some kind of divine blessing that I did not even get a scratch somewhere so it's all
time and space
it's all planned.
Sometimes luck yeah
so my team commander used to say my sense of humor improved after that he said कि once you realize कि यार तू तेरा कुछ नहीं हो सकता तो
yeah sir I don't know for the last so much time that we've been talking and you have touched on each and everything what is improvisation of solution effective intelligence की बात कर रहे थे आप organizing ability बता रहे थे how you're connecting with men power of expression कभी Gorkhali then para then how you're holding the team together and like this incident the leadership initiative self-confidence ability to influence the group again your liveliness you're telling कि यार अभी sense of humor भी ठीक हो गया liveliness. And then, of course, para, the factor 4 जो बोलते हैं, determination, courage, stamina, that's like next level in paras and all that. So, yeah, I'm sure no matter however much we keep talking, और ये बाहर आता ही जाएगा, but I think the objective is achieved, the goal is achieved, that yes, these are the behavior manifestations that come out of your daily lives, of your daily routine when you're wearing that uniform. These are the behavior manifestations that come out, and exactly a miniaturized version of something what you're going to do is what we check at the services selection board. If finally करना तो ये है, कुछ तो ऐसे ही करना है, average potential officer, and then suddenly you keep growing, and then polishing of the qualities.
See, unit grooms you. Whichever unit you are, it is a grooming.
So I keep saying this, that officer like qualities की कहानी SSB में start होती है, but then every year you are adjusted on your OLQs as a part of your ACRs.
Yes.
And then you keep polishing them. And then you reach a better shade, you become a better person every day. So till the time you hang your boots.
Exactly.
And हम आर्मी के बाहर निकल जाते हैं, हम फौज के बाहर निकल जाते हैं, लेकिन फौज
हमसे नहीं निकलता, वो बड़ा मुश्किल है.
बहुत मुश्किल है वो चीज. So yeah, sir, thank you so much for coming onto the show, sir. Roger that with NKC, like I said.
Thank you.
This is a show by veterans. This is a show by veterans for armed forces aspirants of today, for the Indian Armed Forces of tomorrow. Officer like qualities की कहानी, ex-GTO की जुबानी. Roger that with NKC, powered by Olive Planet. They are manufacturers of premium military gear, but let me tell you, they were the ones who supplied the gear in the Uri movie.
Yeah, I'm aware of it.
Yeah. And yeah, all of us are customers. They really make really great gear. Thank you so much for watching this. Stay tuned, like, subscribe, share to my channel, and stay tuned for such interesting content, because I aspire to break most myths about not only the officer-like qualities, the Services Selection Board, but also the young military leadership. This is Indian military. Thank you.
Thanks, Nikhil. Thank you so much. It was a pleasure being here, and I hope what you do. What you're doing. I think it's a very, very noble thing that you're doing. So you break the concept, or probably a lot of misconceptions and misinformations in this field.
Yeah.
So all the best to you, and all the best to your channel.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Thank you so much for watching my show. This was Roger That with NKC, powered by Olive Planet, manufacturers of premium military gear. Check out their stuff on the website oliveplanet.in. This gear is used by Indian military, including the special forces. Subscribe to my YouTube channel for more such interesting content. For SSB related content, you can check my YouTube channel, which is called SSB with ISB. There's an Instagram handle and also the LinkedIn page by the same name, SSB with ISB. Follow me on Instagram, Lieutenant Commander Nikhil, the GTO, or just search for me as Nikhil Kumar Chandrakila. Thank you so much.